Hey y'all, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. I'm not at Perma Pastures Farm. We're out here at this festival with my pastor. Love him and his family. Miss Robbie Lynn, the homesteading pastor's wife, is out here as well. This is Pastor Lon, and you can check him out. Dig this. He brought me a shirt out here today, and we both got this shirt.
That's right.
What do you think about that, Pastor?
I think we need more of this we need more men to be men in these last days we're living in. It just boggles my mind how there's so many men just sitting down on their job. God called Adam when he went looking in the cool of the day, not Eve. So it's our responsibility to lead our wives, lead our children, and lead our communities as men the way God intended it to be.
Now, what do you say to those out there that say you're a sexist when you say leading your wife and your children and all that? Well, do you have anything, would you like to address those people?
Well, the only thing I can really say about that is the fact that that's the order God put it in. So we can't go against what God's order is. You know, he created man first, and he created Eve as a helpmate. We're no better or no less than the woman, but remember this, he took the rib out of Adam's side, not out of his head, not out of his foot, not out of his backbone, not out of his chest bone, but beside him. So I think that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm no better than my wife, but she is the weaker vessel according to the word of God. That makes her no less of a person. But as a man, it's my responsibility and yours and any other man in this country that's got a wife and children to lead them by example and lead them by godly example.
Wow, I wish your message would get out to some of them towns near me, because we got this new phenomenon. I think I invented this term. I'm calling it milquetoast masculinity. Where
I can see that one written up on the wall.
Milquetoast, maybe we need a t-shirt with that.
You're right.
Milquetoast masculinity, where a lot of these guys have acquiesced, and I'm seeing a lot of the women having to take the foreground. Have you seen some of that?
I have, and I've had people reach out to me, like you said you had too, and I've done a video on that, Robbie and I, a while back, from a man and the woman's point of view. And we're just living in a time where the men have seemed to be busy doing other things instead of doing what they need to be doing or God called us to do. So as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord.
Amen.
And I'm going to lead the way God called me to lead.
That's why I watch his channel, y'all, and everybody out there needs to go there and subscribe. We're going to leave a link down below. Homesteading pastor, like I said, I used to go to a brick and mortar church, and for a whole number of reasons, I quit going there. Part of it, believe it or not, part of it is having approached the pastor and talked to him, and I want to get into this with him also. I approached the pastor about using some of all these acres of ground they had up at this church to grow food for the parishioners or for the folks that need it. And he was bitterly opposed. So, I mean, basically saying, well, that's not a problem around here. And I bet he's singing a different tune when you go in the grocery stores right now.
True.
As a pastor of a real deal church, what's your position on that? Because a lot of folks are saying, well, the Lord's going to look after me. Well, I pray to the Lord he makes me a good guitar player, but if I never pick it up and play it,
True.
is it ever going to happen?
Well, it's the same way with Noah. I get that a lot too. Everybody says I don't have to do anything. God's going to take care of me. But he took care of Noah and his family. But Noah had to build an ark. Had he not, then he would have drowned him and his family. So I think it's all in the Bible about husbandry, living off the land, growing your own animals. Matter of fact, there's more in there about that than there is technology and all this other hype that so many churches are into these days. It goes right back to the land. You're sowing the land, reaping what you sow, raising your own animals. And I think that whether you like it or not, we're getting ready to have to go back to some of that kind of living, the way things are going in this country.
I don't see any way around it. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there, and I've been critical lately of all these people that are selling fear, that are selling all this stuff without offering solutions. Guess what? Not only is he telling you what's going on out there, but at the end of the day, we're told not to worry. We're told our redemption draws near. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, this is part of what I love so much about this good man is, number one, when I step out of order, he's the first one to put me in check. And as part of what grew the love I have for this good man is because of the fact that there's a lot of people, they call themselves your friend, and then the second you need that admonishment, that kick in the pants, they're reluctant to do it. A while back, I did that, and he reached out to me personally, by example, and told me, hey, you need to straighten up your shot group. You ain't behaving the way you ought to. And I thanked him for it. I want to be set right. I want to be made right. And this is a lot of what he does. That's the mark of a true friend and an awesome pastor. When they honestly feel that there's the possibility of maybe torpedoing a relationship because you told them the truth. And because of that, I can't thank you enough for that.
Well, I think if you got a true friend, they'll tell you when you're out of line. I expect the same thing from all my friends. And let me tell you something else. The reason I'm so critical with other men, especially, because I'm critical on myself.
Yes, you are.
I can't lay my head down on my pillow at night knowing I've either done the wrong thing or didn't do what I was called to do in the eyes of God. And I try to look at everybody through the eyes of God. Everybody's got their strong points, and all of us have our weak points, and we fail every day. But God's forgiven us, and we must forgive one another.
Well, that's pretty cool. How many pastors out there, y'all, do you know that I mean, if y'all knew all the hats this good man wears, it would floor you, because you wouldn't believe that he had time to do what he does. I mean, it's enormous what he does and what his wife does, what they do collectively. It is truly astonishing and inspiring, and that's part of what I love. But y'all are also putting in, let's get into they grow a lot of food.
Before you leave that subject, can I mention this?
Yes, sir.
I don't mention this out of like needing any pat on the back or any sympathy, any pity. But just to tell you, anybody out there, if you think you can't do the things that you maybe have a desire to do in homesteading or farming or whatever, you can, because like I said, he said, I got a full-time job that I've been working for over 30 years. I pastor the church in Hartsville, South Carolina, or actually Darlington, South Carolina. We work the homestead / farm that we got, and we got 4 kids, and 2 of those kids are special needs kids. And I always mention those. They're legally deaf and blind, and they got many other health issues. But if we can do what we do, by the grace of God, with all these different hats, as Billy said, then surely you can do what God's called you to do. That's just it's overwhelming at times, because we have people praying for us, encouraging us, and God gives us the strength to do what we do.
He's giving you the small list, y'all, because in addition to that, they got a permaculture food forest and an orchard kicking in. They got animals out the wazoo. They got all this different stuff, and still manage at the end of the day to educate themselves in, hey, we got fruit trees out here. How do we add a guild to it? We have this out here. How do we add that to it? They do all that and still minister to others. They're an inspiration, and I'm not just saying this because I've been talking about him for a long time, and people ask me, where do you go to church? Right there. But honestly, you are a massive inspiration. What do you want to leave them out there with, Pastor?
Well, I appreciate that, and we try to mix it up a lot on our channel with homesteading and Come Sit Us Fail. We just sit on the porch and talk about life in general. But the devotionals get more attention than anything else I do, more views and stuff. So that's what our channel was based on, was Christ and the devotions and stuff like that. We're gonna keep it that way. But just like he was saying earlier about the food forest, the fruit trees, and the guild, I didn't know what a guild was until I started watching your channel. But anyway, we're working on that now. And also, we tried to mix it up. We plant an in-ground garden like my granddaddy taught me, where you run the tiller and the plow and all that. We got raised bed gardens as well. We got the the green stalk.
Green stalk.
We grow them in that. We grow them in containers. We grow them in 5-gallon buckets. We put food anywhere we can put it. My wife and I first got married, for the longest time, we worried about having a nice yard, a nice flower bed. Now we got a tomato plant where Isaiah used to be. You know what I mean? Or a mater plant, as we'd say where I come from. But I'm just saying that's the mentality, the mindset we have been in since 2017. Growing our own food, becoming self-sustainable, and lead people to Christ as best we can along the way. I mean, at the end of the day, if I've touched somebody spiritually speaking, not that I can touch them, but you know what I'm saying, I may water, somebody else may plant, but God gives the increase. But if we don't do our part, the plant's not going to grow. If we don't do our part, people's lives are not going to grow either.
Well, y'all, you see why I watch. That's exactly why I watch. Now, Pastor, look, I live on Chestnut Mountain, not Brokeback Mountain, but I'm gonna give you a hug anyway.
Oh yeah. You know me, I'll preach on that if you tried to go any other way. I don't want nothing to do with that Brokeback Mountain.
All right, hey, I'm out here at what do we call this thing anyway?
Farm Where You Live.
Farm Where You Live. I'm doing so many of them and I'm sleep deprived, but it's all good because I'm wide awake. When I meet new awesome people like this, where are you from?
We're from Greer, South Carolina.
You have a YouTube channel?
We do. It's Dowdle Homestead, and we're just a small channel right now, but we're hoping to get bigger. We live on 0.93 acres. We have a huge garden that we're doing on there. We have 8 laying hens. So we're planning on doing food preservation, canning. So come check us out.
How cool is that, y'all? All right, y'all. Here, without further ado, my friend from way back, Ben, and down the road, Jody. What's y'all's YouTube channel? As if anybody doesn't already know this guy.
This guy here, yeah.
Yeah.
Renewed Homestead.
That's right. Look at that.
Right
Jody,
on.
what's yours?
Weapons Junkie. I know that Hopefully this video doesn't get canceled by saying that.
No, the cool
This
thing,
weapon's junky.
that's what I love about this, y'all, is that at festivals like this, I ran into Jody last week and we hit it off right off. And at a festival like that, you get to meet so many wonderful people from so many different backgrounds, but he's making his way into the permaculture, garden space, the whole 9 yards. And Ben is becoming an old hand at it. So if you need to know how to build a homestead from the ground up, Renewed Homestead, and Jody, all things tactical.
Hey, we're trying.
That's right.
we are doing it.
That's right. Whole lot going on out here, y'all, at this festival. Just got finished talking to Joel Salatin, the pimp daddy of poultry, right over there. Maybe the pimp daddy of pork too, I don't know. But he does it all.
Maybe cows.
Yeah, he does it all. But I mean, it was cool. I gave him some of this comfrey salve we got. He put it on this cut that he got on his hand, and he's going home with some bone sauce. So he's gonna find out that we're legit. But hey, speaking of legit, who am I with here right now? I've watched their channel. I'm subscribed to your channel, but I don't know how to pronounce their last name.
This is Merzinski Family Homestead. We are on 13 acres in Saluda, South Carolina. Pretty much 2 miles, 3 miles from Roots of Refuge.
I still can't say. They just said their last names.
Rosinski.
Rosinski. Okay, the M's.
Mrozinski.
Okay, so I got to put the M in there somehow too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So I've seen you guys. I've actually seen their live a couple of times, and I said, "Hey, what's up?" Maybe a time or two. Tell everybody what y'all are doing.
Well, right now we are staying at a small homestead. We're renting right now. We're on 2 acres. We run chickens. We do gardening on a smaller scale there, and then we recently bought back in January 13 acres of land in Saluda County, South Carolina. We got a garden started. We got our fruit trees already planted. Everything's starting, but we just don't have a house there yet. And we're doing everything. We're going to be doing everything off grid for the most part in our new location.
What I find awesome right now, look, y'all, you don't need to wait. They're off and running, like you said, on rented land. We got people reaching out to us that are living in apartments on rented land, but it's pretty astonishing because y'all got a family too.
Yeah.
Y'all doing this every step of the way.
Yes.
And we
So
we also homeschool for our 3 kids. Well, 2 kids, because the 1 kid ain't old enough for school yet.
How cool is that, y'all? So hey, check them out. They'll be in the description down below. Hey y'all, so here we are still out at this festival, and I'm meeting some wonderful, astonishing people. And honestly, it's just a real joy every time I come to something like this. So we're also going to introduce you to a couple of more YouTube channels you didn't know about, but you're going to want to check out. What do you got?
So my name is Dom, and I'm from Faith Family Homestead, and we're on 2.6 acres, and we're just building our homestead and documenting it on YouTube.
How cool is that, y'all? So we're going to link all that down below, and then we got some new friends over here too, and I think they got shirts, so it kind of says it all.
Yeah, so we are Our Freedom Song. My name is Taquisha.
I'm Thomas.
And we are urban gardeners, and so we are figuring it out. We're beginner gardeners, and we're just figuring it out on the way. We're trying to figure this thing out so that we can learn how to do something that we can teach our kids to do down the line. And so we're so happy for you to come along on our journey.
And it is doable. It is doable. That's what we're learning and figuring out.
Yes.
It's been a real joy, y'all, because honestly, and they just got the seminar of me talking permaculture on a side note, and they're realizing I don't shut up about it. But it's cool that when you can come to places like this, and when you get to these gatherings and meet all these folks around here, they didn't know you existed, and you didn't know they existed. So you want to get to as many of these as possible. Remember, there's going to be a swale class coming up. You don't want to miss that. And also there's going to be a number of other opportunities to try to get together as a community as often as we can despite the times. All right, check them out, y'all.